Rick Carlisle gets an extension with the Indiana Pacers, locking in his commitment to that team to the next phase of whatever this is going to be for the Indiana Pacers. We'll talk a little bit about that. Plus, John Wall is retiring. Luka Dončić has a control over the Lakers, as we already know, and the Boston Celtics make an important roster move. We're going to talk about all that and more right after this.
Welcome to the number one place for your daily basketball news and analysis, NBA Central.
What's going on, basketball fans? Welcome to another episode of NBA Central, your number one spot for everything basketball related. I'm the host there, Hayes, but more importantly, you guys can follow the channel at NBA Central Pod on every social media platform we happen to be on. With that said, let's go ahead and get into this content today. So earlier this morning, it was announced that the Indiana Pacers have signed Rick Carlisle to a multi-year extension to keep him as the coach of the Indiana Pacers. And Rick Carlisle was one of the best coaches, not only during the regular season, but also in the postseason. The way he was able to adjust, the way he was able to use his lineups, the way he was able to overcome some of the shortcomings. Rick Carlisle is a perfect example of how really good coaching can elevate a roster. And he's shown that last year. And he's always really been that guy he won a title with one of the most improbable championship teams that we've seen in a while. So Rick Carlisle and his leadership has been so important to the Indiana Pacers and who and what they are in their identity as a team. And they're going into the next phase of that roster where they're going to try to redefine that identity in a lot of ways. Gone is Miles Turner, who's been an important part of that team, even though he's been in trade rumors almost the whole time he's been on that team. Next season, they're going to be without Tyrese Halliburton, and Rick Carlisle already making a decision and making it clear that Ben Mathurin is going to be in that starting lineup next year. Really, it shows like how this next phase of the Indiana Pacers, for lack of a better term, this next season for the Indiana Pacers is really going to be about seeing what you have in these guys on this roster, especially a guy like Ben Mathurin, who is a restricted free agent at the end of this year. This comes at a really important time for Ben Mathurin to be able to get this opportunity and to step up and to really show what he can have. Because the Pacers are a team that we already know. They want to avoid the luxury tax. It's part of the reason Miles Turner is not here, especially with the state of the roster. And so, before you have to give Ben Mathurin some serious money, you not get an opportunity to put it all on him. He's going to have an opportunity to really be a large part of the offensive load there. And Rick Carlisle is the right guy to get that evaluation done and bring it all back to Rick Carlisle. Of course, you still got Pascal there. He's going to do his thing. Nembhard is going to make probably a step up as well. He has 3 years left on his deal. Nesmith has 2 years left at $11 million each before he's an unrestricted free agent. We already know TJ McConnell's still there, those type of players. So, seeing this next phase and to have a guy like Rick Carlisle who's coached a lot of different types of rosters, lots of different types of styles as well. Rick Carlisle is one of those guys that it's like, oh, you fit into my style or you don't play. Even Ben Mathurin, and he said it. Rick Carlisle said it before. Ben Mathurin said it. He's like, Ben Mathurin doesn't necessarily play the same way that the rest of the roster does, but he's found ways to make that and use that to the advantage of the rest of the team. And so, I couldn't think of a better guy to be able to, stick around. And loyalty is not always common in the NBA with how teams move off of coaches that have winning records. And so, now that this team is trying to, see what they have before they then try to maximize on the strengths of Tyrese Halliburton, going forward into the, after the season. This is an important kind of tone-setting season for the Indiana Pacers. And locking in Rick Carlisle as part of your future, locking in, to set and determine that foundation is going to be important for the Indiana Pacers. So shout out to Rick Carlisle for getting that multi-year extension. But much like Rick Carlisle has said with Ben Mathurin, as far as he's going to be in that starting lineup to start the season, and we'll see how he's going to perform, Peyton Pritchard apparently is set up for quite an increase in role with the Boston Celtics this upcoming year. Keep in mind, the sixth man of the year, that's what Peyton Pritchard is. And reportedly, he's going to be getting a promotion into the starting lineup next season. And we'll see what happens when it comes down to that. When this one comes from the Journal's Grant Afshat, I believe is how you pronounce it, he says this: the Boston Celtics appear poised to elevate Peyton Pritchard into the starting lineup while using Anthony Simons as a high-scoring option off the bench for the 2025-26 season. If he remains on the roster, if Anthony Simons remains on the roster. Peyton Pritchard last year, 14.3 points per game, 42% shooting, 47% shooting from the field, 40% shooting from deep, 3.8 rebounds, 3.5 assists, almost a steal per game. And so now with Drew Holiday gone, with Jason Tatum out, Peyton Pritchard is going to have an opportunity to himself to kind of show what he can be with an increased role for this Boston Celtics team. And, much like we talked about the Pacers kind of being in a transitional or figure it out year, a lot is going to be determined in the future for the Boston Celtics based off what they do. Now, I'm not somebody that I see the Celtics as being like a tanking team. That's just been my opinion. Me and the guys, we've talked several times. I don't think they're going to be a terrible team next year. Maybe I'm wrong on that one, but I think this is going to be a team that still can very well compete for a 6-7 seed in the Eastern Conference at worst. And, they have that trade chip in Anthony Simons that they can try to do something with it midseason if the right thing presents itself. And so I think the Boston Celtics are sitting in a unique situation. Now, we know that they do own their own first round pick outright. So if they were, decided to just kind of let the season go where they may, this is the season to really do that and just let it fall. And, we'll see what happens there. But I don't see the Boston Celtics being a tanking team. I just don't see them doing that. That's my personal opinion. I know that's not one that's shared by everyone, but Peyton Pritchard getting an opportunity here to step up, former top 20 pick in the league as well. And now we'll see what Peyton Pritchard can bring here for this Boston Celtics team, because a lot of people, he was the 26th overall pick in the 2020 draft. And so he's still very early into his NBA career. And now with an opportunity like he's going to have, and a lot of people on the Celtics are going to have, we'll see what the future holds for those guys. But one of the players that's future got a little bit more clarity, of course, when they signed an extension, was Luka Dončić when he signed that 3-year extension with the Los Angeles Lakers. And Tim McMahon recently talked about how much things are built around. He said this: everything you hear coming from Luka Dončić, like the statements he's put out from the people when he talks about the future of the Lakers, Mark Walter's name is always mentioned in there very strategically. Jenny Buss and Mark Walter. Both Walter and Buss still carry a lot of power when it comes to the Lakers. However, stars like Dončić and James have become more influential than ever. Both have their sets set on contending in the Western Conference next season. In order to do that, Dončić could decide to exercise some leverage against the front office and ownership. Now, I don't know how much, take this again, I'm not a Lakers insider. I can't speak to the validity of this. But we have heard this does match things that we've heard, right? And we heard that Rob Pelinka met with Luka Dončić and had that binder that, he had in former meetings with LeBron James. Like, the keys are now in Luka's hands. There's no doubt about that. And, the injury scare, all those type of things that happen over here. But everything still is that he has power over what the future of this Lakers team looks like. And he realizes that, as he should realize that as a star in this league. And so, whatever Luka decides to do going forward and how he decides to wield that power is going to be important for the team building of this Los Angeles Lakers team. But, they're already set up. They have the ability to have max cap space in the summer of 2026 if they decide to do so and strategically play that well. And, while they've done some things to change the roster, absolutely, to make it fit around Luka better this offseason, they still got a lot that they need to do to really, truly be a championship contender, at least in my opinion. They're going to win a lot of regular season games. I don't know how much I have them as a championship contender in that Western Conference, but we'll see how that all goes, how it all shakes out. And of course, we'll be here watching it, reviewing it, and talking about it as the season goes on. Can't wait till we get basketball, man. Basketball is right around the corner. We should have it sooner rather than later. But with that said, as we get in basketball has stopped for one player. John Wall has officially announced his retirement from the NBA. And it's funny because it comes the day after Marco Bellinelli, and it's almost like John Wall saw that. John Wall hasn't played in the league, I think, since 2023. It's like he saw that and was like, "Oh crap, I gotta retire. I haven't sent this paperwork in." But it was a great video that was there. When it came down to it. John Wall said this: "I've been chasing the ball since I could barely walk. Driveways, parks, packed gyms, 5 a.m. workouts. I gave this game everything that I had, from Raleigh to Kentucky to the league. Every jersey I've worn meant more than just wins and stats. It was about representing something bigger. It was about something I couldn't do without you. To my family, my mom especially, thank you for all the sacrifices. I hope I made you proud. To my teammates, trainers, and coaches, thank you for believing in me. And to the fans, you made me feel unstoppable." John Wall, shout out to John Wall, who had a great career. I forgot, until looking into this, like, John Wall was all NBA defense second team. He was on all defensive second team, 5-time All-Star, slam dunk contest winner. Like, John Wall has had a very storied career. And, not that he's never really gotten the individual accolades, never got the postseason success, but, and John Wall coming in and really kind of living up to a lot of the hype around him. Shout out to John Wall for that. He was picked first overall by the Washington Wizards in 2010. He played 11 seasons in the NBA. And he did a lot that as far as scoring wise, averaging over 20 points per game for most of his career. John Wall had a really great career, really, really solid career that he did. And so it is what it is. Despite signing that 2-year contract with the Clippers, and, he played 34 games in the 2022-23 season, which was his last in the NBA. He now hangs it up. And, we're now getting to the place where I'm getting to the place, I should say, where I'm seeing waves of players that I saw from them being drafted to the end of their career. And that's just something special. So, we'll see what happens. I'm sure, the Wizards are going to congratulate him. They're going to do something special for him and celebrate him over the course of the season in some shape, form, or fashion. So we'll wait to see how that goes out. But let me know what you guys think. How do you feel? How are you going to remember the career of John Wall? Let me know that down below. That's my time for today, guys. Make sure you guys are following us at NBA Central Pod. You can send us any feedback, questions, comments, concerns, NBA Central Show at gmail.com. And then lastly, if you want to leave a text message and or voicemail for the mailbag, the number to do so, 773-270-2799. We are the #1 spot for everything basketball related. I'll catch you guys the next time I feel like making a video. Probably tomorrow. Peace, y'all.
This has been a presentation of the Breaks Media.